Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with host Ronald Barrington Robinson and friends. Seen on the internet via YouTube. Enter in capital letters RBRIMO to watch our exciting programming. Subscriptions are free. The In My Opinion Show is seen on Flint, Michigan, Comcast Cable Television, Channel 17, every Saturday at 6 p.m. and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. The In My Opinion Show is also seen on Detroit, Michigan, Comcast Cable Television, Channel 68, every Sunday at 9 p.m. We want to welcome our worldwide viewers. We hope that you enjoy our programs that are newsworthy, educational, political, and entertaining. If you'd like to be a guest on this exciting program or have different opinions on our subject matter, please email our producer, in my opinion, rbr@att.net. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide. I also want to welcome my co-host, Mr. Henry Hatter.
Welcome. Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome, Mr. Hatter. Miss Jackie Williams.
Thank you, Ron.
You're more than welcome. Miss Denise Smith-Allen.
Hi, Ron, and thank you.
All right. Let's talk about 47 in the U.S. Congress sent a letter to Iran. They should all be tried for treason. There's a law in the books. It's called the Logan Act. It's a single federal statute making it a crime for citizens to confer with foreign governments against the interests of the United States. Specifically, it prohibits citizens from negotiating with other nations on behalf of the United States without authorization. These 47 Republicans had no authorization. Denise, what is your thoughts?
Well, very simply put, as you said, they are being, or they should be tried for treason, and receive the penalty that goes with that. I think that it was an insult to the president and to the United States citizens for them to take it upon themselves to send anything to a foreign entity without our knowledge, our agreement, and following the law as it's spelled out. I think that certainly in the times that we're living, where we have so many situations where people have lost their lives because of terrorism throughout the United States and outside of the United States, that we need to be very cognizant of what we do and how we do it. And I think that that was a political move that in a sense, I think should have backfired, and there should be some accountability there.
Absolutely. I really don't know what's on some of these people's minds, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I've never seen a presidency that's so bombarded with dissension, if you will, if I can use that word. And it's a disservice, to the United States, specifically our president. It's unheard of in American history. Mr. Hatter, what is your thoughts?
Ron, since you said it could happen to both Republicans and Democrats, I agree with you. I want to let you know how I feel about that. I'm annoyed, and I'm disappointed. Congress is the lawmaking body of the country, not the president. It's Congress. The Senate signs all contracts. They make all contracts and agreements with other powers. But yet they can't do this without a plurality of the senators acting in formal session to say we will send 47 senators, all of which are Republicans, to talk with other leaders around the world. Now, that's legal. But just walking out on your own without the consent of Congress or the knowledge, or at least just letting the American people know what was on their mind. I know that they probably let some American people know what was on their mind, and that were basically Republicans and Democrats that agreed with them. And independents, because all people don't agree like. They have their own constituencies. And they may have been thinking that they were representing the constituency. But when you're in the United States Senate, you represent the umbrella of all people. And so it does look ugly, and how they will come out. And you know, I don't know whether we need to hire them of treason, because they were acting on behalf of the American people. They were in a seated position, elected by the people, and they were acting on behalf of the people. But they were not electing, they were not making these actions on behalf of all the American people. Which means that you had to come up with an action that's approved in formal session of the United States Senate. And then they direct you. And generally, what we would expect is that Congress needs to advise the president. It's a courtesy thing, even if you don't like him, even if you don't agree with him. It's what we do as a nation. To divide the presidency from the United States Senate or the United States House or from Congress is an awful thing to do. You should be working together. We're facing a global world, all of which don't agree with us, don't like us, and will not help us if we fell down. So I, for example, and I'm critical of people who do that. Even in our own communities, I'm critical of people who don't stand up and salute the flag in our own country here. And for the Senate to go off in this manner to disrespect the rule of law is disparaging.
Absolutely.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, it's a shame. You know, I don't know what was on these folks' minds. All right, in my opinion, you know, they want to play to their base. All right, to the Tea Parties and you know, and other groups. Okay, which is they weren't I'm sure their constituents didn't elect them to go to
I doubt it.
Washington D.C.
Right.
All right, to start their own personal agendas. You know what I mean? And I've never understood why these, you know, when you get elected, regardless of whether you go to Washington or you go to city council or whatever, all right, your constituents are the ones that elected you, okay? And then why do they have to, you know, once they get elected, then they want to stick with a certain party? Well, daggone it, the party is not what elected you. It's your constituents, and your constituents should be first and foremost, you know, on your minds. All right, not friendships. You know what I mean? Not who you like and who you don't like, and who you know and who you don't like, and who somebody else likes and who somebody else doesn't like. All right, it's your constituents, and only your constituents you should be concerned about.
Yeah, I think that this is a point in history that we will long remember.
Absolutely.
Because it will never happen again.
I just think that I'm just disappointed. I mean, for the whole time that Obama has been in office, there has been nothing but fighting. And it's so obvious that the whole job was to make sure his 8 years were not comfortable.
Yeah, but the American people elected him.
No, and the American people are not, you know, supporting all that he's going through. And he is in the highest paid position, prestigious position,
Yeah.
but he's not respected. He's the most disrespected president in the history, and we're writing this history, and it doesn't look good. And we had a chance to do a right. You know, we have a black president. We had a chance to show them that we've moved on, and we have not done justice with that. Every chance we get, we're we're shutting down because of this, because we want to show them that we don't respect him. And it has never happened, and no one has ever threatened this in the history, but all of a sudden you do it to him. And then you don't really care that he's upset. You don't care that you violated. It doesn't matter because they have no respect for him.
I think they do. If you were to pull Republicans out of their comfort zone and ask them,
But I don't want to pull you out of your comfort zone. I want to pull you out when you're doing this. I don't want to pull you out your
they
comfort
aren't going to
zone.
do anything like
Well,
that.
I don't want to see the person behind
they
the
won't do
scenes.
that.
I don't want to
No.
see him. I
You
want
gotta
to see
look
the
at
person who's the
realism.
ladder.
Right, and
You
the
gotta
other
look
thing
at realism.
the other thing that kind of clouds this situation is the fact that we now, because of technology, you have people tweeting and doing all these other things. So there's constantly a barrage of basically hate. I mean, there are people who really are not happy that he's there and made it a point of saying, I'm going to say and do whatever I can.
Remember what I told you about the talk shows?
Yeah.
You're saying they're
Yeah.
tweeting all this.
Tweeting
stuff.
and they but what I'm saying is because it's such a public forum now and people are weighing in and more people are doing these kinds of things under some other name. They don't put their name and their faces out there. They just say what they want to say and say some really
But if
horrible-
whites in America love President Obama,
They may, okay, but I'm telling you that the majority of the people who don't feel that way are making those kinds of statements
yeah.
in the media.
But they're not the people. They don't speak for the American people.
Well, that's true. That's true. But what I'm still saying that if you are bombarded day in and day out, when you turn on your news or if you turn on your computer and you're looking at what they're saying, you can be very, very discouraged.
Or you
There's
can-
a whole group of people. There's several groups of people who don't weigh in. You know, you have other ethnic groups. You don't hear from people of Asian descent. You know, on a large scale. You know, or a Native Americans. You don't hear that on a
But he
large
can withstand all of that bombardment, and he does a good job.
Of course he does. Of course he does because he's insulated to a point,
Yeah.
and he also knows that at this point he's a lame duck. He's not going to serve another term, so he's going to follow the policy and agenda that has been set. Okay, but I can recall, and I'm sure you all too at the table here can recall, when Bush left the office and he was getting ready to get on that plane or that whatever he left on, people were happy.
Yeah.
They're happy. And so what I'm feeling now is that when President Obama leaves, he's going to have that same kind of situation. And it's like, this man was the Jackie Robinson for all of America.
Did a good job.
He did an excellent job dealing with a Congress that was just totally against any and everything that he was trying to put through.
But you got to understand that the culture of the country was that way before he became president.
Absolutely it
No,
was.
but when he leaves there, we will have created a completely different kind of culture in the United States and the world.
But by them writing this letter and it going outside of the United States, you're pretty much dragging them into our business and you're pretty much airing our dirty laundry. So that's my whole point is, if we want to fight within the United States, okay, let's fight. Let's do what we have to do and try to work it out. But when you contact other people and tell them don't agree to anything and it's not good, you don't want to do that because now they're laughing at us like they can't even get their stuff together. And how much respect do you think they have for us when you got people writing them letters and then the president is talking to you? So it's just really not good. I don't care how you look at it.
But if you ask Republicans,
I don't want to ask them
forget the partisanship of this at this point, because what you have now, you've got people who have reached across the waters to try to sway them in a position, and those same individuals that you've contacted, you don't know what kind of intent that they may have.
Yeah.
They may want to do something, and they may
Bad.
draw those 47 people
Yeah.
involved into something that America can't stand.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they should be sanctioned. They definitely should be sanctioned. And I'm not necessarily thinking death penalty, but I'm saying sanction.
Well, you don't sanction people at that level, but they make the laws.
Well, you can sanction them.
Only the American people can do that by recalling them or
Well, maybe all
voting them
47
out of
of them,
office.
maybe all 47 of them ought to be recalled. Okay, because that's something you just don't do.
Well,
You
it's
just
an
mention
ugly
it.
thing, and I agree with you. With
How are,
all
you,
of
how are
it.
we going to
How-
make? How are we going to encourage our younger generation to respect? All right, the rule of law, and an election process. Okay, if you get these people like this up there, they're saying to hell with, I don't give a shit about the Logan law or Logan Act or any other act. All right, we're going to do what those are vigilantes. We're
Right.
going to do what we want to do. The hell with the president, whoever it might
No, it's the
be.
Constitution.
All right, and the hell with the
You
Constitution.
don't want to trample on the Constitution.
Well, but I think they
because
did.
if you trample on the Constitution, the whole thing could fall in.
Well,
And we created something that we can't live with. Anarchy and
Well, yeah, but this is why we're sliding
yeah,
down this
yeah.
slippery slope, and
That's
that's why
right.
these people need to be held accountable for these kinds of actions, because it's totally unacceptable.
It starts somewhere.
You know,
But
those 47 didn't represent my
well,
position.
in my position, I think it only made Barack Obama look good because I believe that he withstands everything that they throw at him. And the American people are looking at this. Not only are the minorities looking at it, but the American people are looking at it. You don't see them in upheavals, do you? No, you don't see American people. You don't see, I think they may be afraid of the president if he turns the army on them. You know, I don't know.
well, see, that's why the purpose of, in my opinion,
Yeah.
is to bring these issues up, out and up front, and face the reality of what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, they're pushing us dangerously close to a strong president. He's already a strong president, you know.
You talking strong president as a dictator?
Well, we're only a
Step
step away.
That's right.
And our,
Yeah.
And you got to remember that we're only a step away from it.
we're going to change gears real quickly here. Let's talk about Flint schools. Barry Watkins, what the hell is going on? All right. Central is closed, Cody's closed, Johnson Elementary's closed, Washington, Homedale, Coolidge, McKinley, Sobey, and now you're talking about perhaps maybe another 5 are going to be closed. The system is 23
Million.
almost $30 million dollars in debt. I've been in and around Flint the last 25 years. Ever since I've been here, there's always been a deficit. And, I don't understand that. You've laid off, the school system's laid off, oh my God, teachers, administrators, custodial staff, office staff, and so many others. Now, and many of those superintendents, they got golden parachutes, okay? It seems like, and I make no fun of this, but it seems like they've gotten rid of more superintendents than students. Now, that's crazy.
Ron, please.
They might be stretching it a little bit.
No.
My goodness. I mean, what in the world is going on? I mean, I know the population has diminished greatly, all right? Flint doesn't have the 200,000+ anymore, all right? I guess they're under 100,000 now, okay? But still, okay, and I understand things need to, you need to consolidate and perhaps maybe close, all right? But, I mean, we got to get a handle on this. The state is getting ready to come in, okay, and another emergency manager, okay, with Flint School Systems. You see, I mean, Jesus Christ, how many emergency managers does Flint need? They're going to outpopulate. Emergency managers are going to outpopulate the population.
It's unfortunate. It really is. And when they went to get Larry Watkins to become the interim superintendent, no one knew how this thing was going to spiral out of control the way it did. Okay, we were hoping against hope that, number one, the population would normalize. We were hoping that we would not have to have additional schools closed. We were hoping that people would be invested in the community enough to want to see additional programs and maybe some grants from the federal and state level to help us keep our school system viable and functioning, okay? But these things didn't happen. They were working against the tide, okay? So here it is, Larry Watkins did as much under the circumstances that he was able to do. And the writing is on the wall. He knew the writing was on the wall, so he made a decision. Whether it was personal, professional, otherwise, the decision has been made. They will probably find someone else to take this on. But as they do, the state is in the background, and they are waiting, and they are more than likely coming in. Because when you've got to go keep borrowing to make payroll, that's a systematic problem that has to be addressed. And there's no two ways about it. And I know, Henry, you probably have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, we've been predicting this. We've been predicting this for 2 years or 3 years, for Flint to close. They just don't have the money. And what you need a superintendent that can go in and start cutting to the bone. And they got too much capacity. They got all of these school buildings all over the city. That does not fill the buildings with 75% of its population. I think the building has to be 75% occupied. But they don't have that capacity. So they have all of these buildings, and they're still having operating costs. They may have some legacy costs in there. They may have operating costs if they keep the boilers going and stuff like that. This is all draining the excess funds that they have for other things away from the general fund. So it's a no-win situation. But I think that something will replace Flint because schools, because I don't think that they want all of those kids to move into the areas around them.
Well, no, but you have these charter schools.
They get money just the same as
So they'll come in and they will take over the school systems here.
Yeah.
So, people have to be aware, cognizant of what's going on, and help with the decision making. They have to show up at their school board meetings.
Yeah.
Now, myself, I'm not a participant, but I'm suggesting for those who have children that go to those schools and they want to see some things different, then they need to engage. They really need to engage.
Parents need to engage.
That's what I'm speaking
And
about.
I'm always sad when I go to an honors night and I only see just a handful of parents there. When the kids are being honored for academic achievement, for athletics, for all this and that, and parents don't go. And then when they clap, you can't even hear a clap because it's
It's sad.
perfunctory.
It's sad.
It's sad because you have to inspire kids to want them to be in class. You have to inspire kids with higher expectations. If you don't have high expectations out there, kids will perform only to the level that you expect them to.
The governor said from the beginning that he favored charter schools. And so when they did the funding, we have lost a lot of funding, with our residents, and also what the state has taken back money too. So we don't have the money we used to have to operate. But as you said, Denise, the important thing is we will pack out a gym for a state final. But we will not go and fight for our kid to get a diploma. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. But don't come to the table when they get to the 12th grade. Come to the table at the beginning and stay at the table until they graduate.
And it's not Grand Blanc's problem or Flushing.
No.
This school system is operated by people who live within the boundaries of the school district.
Absolutely.
They function in it. It's their job to help Larry Watkins make decisions.
Right.
Mr. Watkins, you should close this school, that school, and we'll all consolidate a building that's intermediate between them, something like that.
Something like that. But
Yeah.
in addition to that, I think it's also incumbent upon the school board members
Oh yeah,
to-
they're pitiful.
to engage
Yeah,
the community by explaining,
yeah.
maybe having some town hall meetings, and to encourage people and let them know exactly what's taking place here so that they can be engaged in this process. Because a lot of them are intimidated, or maybe they don't care, but
Or
I
they
like
don't
to think
know.
that a lot are operating out of ignorance. They just don't understand. They don't understand because no one has informed them about the dire straits.
Denise, I think you're right. But there's another caveat.
Okay?
They can't work well together. You know, you have to be able to, like the four of us, we have to resolve an issue at the table here. We're going to know that we're going to speak with one voice. But the City Board of Education doesn't speak with one voice. It speaks with multiple voices.
Yeah.
So politics can squeeze in and you can
Right.
be
Because there's
disconnected.
no loyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That's
no loyalty.
unfortunate.
There's
That's
no loyalty
unfortunate.
because stuff that should be kept behind closed doors, they'll spread, and then they don't give the whole story. So you get part of the story. So it causes a division where people are discouraged to come.
And much of that is the fault of those who lead the schools and the parents. The parents need to know that they need to go out and inspire the kids. They need to go out and support them. If they have a basketball game, go support the basketball game. But you should also look at their work, what they're doing. Walk up to the school once in a while. If you don't know what your kid is doing, and you don't get on the computer to go and look at their grades or talk to their teachers, and you should be doing this.
Right.
At this time, this has been a very two wonderful conversations. But at this time, we must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. I want to thank our very talented co-hosts and our technical staff. This is Ronald Berry Robinson saying for the In My Opinion show. Until next time, stay focused.